Hey Kiba,
Give us-
tell Tony I said hi, okay?
I will. It's Mr. Castanio. You've seen them. I've seen them at camp meeting.
We look different on screen. We'll see you guys probably at the, hopefully at UP camp meeting.
We're hoping.
We're hoping.
Here, I'll turn the screen. You can see Mariah too.
Oh, hello, Mariah.
You wouldn't believe how tall they are. Growing as tall as your boys. That's fast.
They grow so fast. Do you do that little growth chart, Kibza, in your house?
No, we've moved enough times. We haven't done that.
You need a portable one that you could take
Yeah,
with you.
we took ours. Now they're taller than the chart. So.
Yeah.
My in-laws did it on a door in their house, and when they moved, they took the door with them.
That's
Oh.
So now it's
There you
installed
go.
in their basement, my father-in-law's workshop, and so now he measures the grandkids against their parents, like where they were at their age.
Aw.
It's pretty cute.
Oh, that's touching. That's so touching, Corey.
Yeah, it's really sweet. So they'll say, "Oh, you're way bigger than your dad was at this age," or whatever. It's pretty cute.
Be like, yeah.
Yep.
There's in the ministerial, the old office, conference office, the ministerial door, there's 4 or 5 pastors' kids that when they would come in, they'd get measured. That was Cheryl. What's her name? Cheryl. Oh, anyway, she used to be the secretary there. She'd measure all those kids. And so when they come back as teenagers and stuff, they'd come up there and look at their marks. So it was really a good thing. Yeah.
I think we
Wow.
should go snag that door.
Yeah, I know. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to have you. It's been a long day. Those of you who have stuck with us this whole time. It's been a good day, but it's been a long day. And so we're thankful that you've come back and have joined us. Tonight, we're going to be talking about risk management, one of the most exciting topics that there is, but it's one of the most important topics in our society now, and it's really important for adventure leaders. So that's why we do it. That's why we make this kind of we don't do a breakout on it. We want everybody to see it. And I'm glad that we're actually taping it, because I think we'll send this to all of the adventure leaders so that they can watch it at their own leisure. So we're going to have a prayer time. And Tim, can you pray for us, please?
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for the beautiful Sabbath and for our time together. Again, I ask for a blessing on each club represented here, and even for those who couldn't make it to the Leadership. We ask, Lord, that this ministry will continue to be strong and will overcome the COVID challenges that are presented. And Lord, again, I ask that you speak through Pastor Craig as he brings us this very important topic of risk management. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, we're going to do a little activity. The activity is that you have about 60 seconds to go in your house somewhere and find a gift that was given to you, something special, something that when you see it, it reminds you of something special that encourages you or that uplifts you in some way that was given to you from somebody or a group or something like that. So go.
Go.
I'm not at home, so I'm going to have to just talk about mine.
I had to think of what to go get.
When's Weaver Camp, Corey?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay, someone had to step away. So you're supposed to go and find a gift that somebody gave you that brings you some joy, some encouragement, that boosts your spirits when you look at this gift that was given to you. On some Baja sauce.
As we went running, our dog was running and getting all excited, like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Right. So when you have your gift, you can hold it up so we can all see it. I see a hat, I see a stuffed dog. I don't know what some of you have. I have to make these bigger so I can see them. Oh, let me get my glasses on. How's that? Ooh, yeah. So does anybody want to share? I'll share what mine is. Picture for my husband. See, some other people have pictures and stuffed animals. Anybody want to share why that is something that's special to them? You can just unmute yourself and
This is Delila.
yes.
This is a sculpture for, that should be the ladies. My daughter and her daughter went to South Africa in February. And then when they came back, they said, Mom, you always talk about your sisters. And this is the older sister, my third one, and she's the second one. And then the third one that I come after,
Rose.
and then the one who comes after me, and the youngest. That what make me feel special and brought some tears my eyes. They said, Mom, you always talk about your sister, how much you want to be there for them. And we feel like that will make your heart very good and feel good about it. Because you're so close to your family. We hear you and we understand you.
Oh,
Amen. Wow, that's great.
Nice. Yes. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, this hat right here is very special to me. It was my grandfather's. He was a pastor in the church for many years. And he passed away in 1996. And my uncle gave it to me a couple of years ago. And it's just, I love the idea that my grandfather wore this and now I get to wear it. So it's a nice leather hat and it just brings back good memories of my grandfather.
Does it fit you?
Yeah, it does.
That's good. Ooh, look at you. Nice.
Some of you that are just coming on, I saw a few people that just came on late. And what you're wondering, what everybody's holding up, we had everybody go and find something in their house that was a gift to them that brought back some good memories, some that made them feel good when they saw that. And I think Gibsa has a, is that one of those Russian doll things?
Yeah, this was a gift from my dad when my grandma passed away, and part of the inheritance. It was special to me as a child because I played with it at grandma's table, and so I was so excited to be able to use this for my own daughters, and they're fun.
Very nice. That's great when it's handed down as those long memories. Anybody else? Danielle, did I say your name right? Ortiz?
You need to unmute yourself.
Yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm just trying to make sure that my boys are quiet in the back because they're making lots of noise. But anyway, there's some pearls that my brother brought from a trip from Tahiti. And
Oh,
what I
wow.
like about them is that, of course, they remind me of the pearl, the log, you know, the pearl that the guy found and sold everything to have it. And also the fact that we are God's pearls, right? And he's
Yeah.
saved us by dying for us on the cross.
Nice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very good. The pearly gates. Huh?
Mind.
Michigan over there.
Yes, this is a wooden board of Michigan that now what? My nephew made this from the farmhouse I grew up in.
Wow.
That's so
Wow.
special.
That is neat.
Very cool.
Yeah, all 7 of us got one. It's pretty cool.
Wow, nice.
Very cool.
I can feel the sentimental
Yeah, right. Me
value of
too.
that there. Anybody else want to share what they went and grabbed? I saw some stuffed animals, like Serena's a teddy bear. Someone had a stuffed dog. Was that Marisol?
So this is a gift I received when I graduated many years ago, but it was from a dear friend, one of the very first, I'm originally from Colombia, so it was one of the first friends I had here in the US.
Oh, wow, nice.
In Illinois. So
Nice.
I just when I got it down, my dog wanted to get it. I was like, nope, I'm not getting this one.
Very neat. Anybody else? Go ahead, Serena.
When I was a sophomore in college at Andrews, right before I went to study in France for here at Collonges. So the bear went with me, and he's traveled all around the world with me. And whenever we go anywhere, the kids are like, "Don't forget to bring Smile." And if they come play stuffies with us, Smile plays stuffies with them. So he's my traveling bear and my kids' favorite play bear, and he's just our little family friend.
Very cool.
Everywhere we go.
Oh,
If I forget him, my kids remind me.
Yeah,
That's
that's nice.
That's like Pastor Harris and his little blue ball, right? That goes everywhere.
Yep. It's in Germany somewhere. I lost it in
I
Germany.
remember
Yeah.
that. Sorry, I
Sad,
mentioned that now.
sad day.
Did you lose the blue ball or the green ball?
It was the blue ball that turned green because of the salt water, the seawater.
Okay.
That you had since you were a kid.
No,
Oh,
I
not
just-
that one.
no.
Okay. It was still in all your stories, so it's hard
It
to.
was, yeah, that's right.
All right.
Well, that's really good. We do those things for a purpose. There's a lot of things that are sentimental to us. One of my biggest sins is nostalgia. that's a big one for me. And at the end, I'm going to talk to you about this. This is what I grabbed, and I'll talk a little bit about that when we wrap up for kind of our sundown worship. But the reason we did that little exercise is there was a purpose for that, not for us just to feel good, but for us to feel good, but also to remember how that maybe we could be the giver of such a thing. If someone has done something for us, we just, you look at the things you guys have, there's really not a lot of expense in it. Maybe the pearls, the pearls probably have some value to those things, but the rest of them, the value is in the giver, and the value is in the moment that you received it. Sophomore in college, you can go back to the very minute that you got those things, and playing with the little Russian dolls when you were a kid, and so those are really important. Wouldn't it be neat if, whether it's a teenager that helps you in adventures, if you give them some little thing to say, I saw this, I thought of you, I want to thank you because you have helped me. Maybe it's one of your staff that you guys get the idea. Just something that says thank you. A t-shirt. I mean, Alcina, tell us your story about your thing there. Right?
Well, this was the first club that I was the director of, and this was our the kids' uniform, field uniform was a shirt with Holly Hedgehog's adventures on it, and I just love this shirt. And when I was leaving and they were retiring the shirt, was it when I left? I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, they made it up into a pillow for me out of one of the shirts. And I still have this. I don't know. This must be about 18 or probably about 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 18 or 20 years ago. And I still have this pillow. I just love it. It means so much to me.
Yeah, right. It's a t-shirt, right? But the thought.
Yeah, it's just a t-shirt made into a pillow.
Yeah. So you guys all get the idea of that. And maybe you can be that person who gives a gift of thanks, and it works for teenagers as well as adults, and maybe even those junior high kids that help. That it's just that's a good thing for us to do. We're going to talk about risk management. We want to protect our kids. We're all in that. We want to protect. And so we're going to begin this journey here. I'm going to go fairly quickly through some of these. This is a PowerPoint that I did not put together. I have another one, but I just recently found this one. And it's got a lot of stuff that's very, very specific to adventures. So I'm going to go with this. You guys see that okay? I'm assuming, right? All right. So the purpose is obviously to keep their adventurers safe, and also to keep the volunteers safe. You can be completely innocent, but if you're putting yourself into a precarious situation where someone can falsely accuse you, you need to be safe. That's unfortunate that we have to think about that, but we do need to think about that. Then there's certain things that within adventures we need to do to remember about the safety, and then recognize the signs of potential child abuse. And we're going to go through some of those. We're going to go through all of them. Confidentiality is really important, especially if your kids may have a medical condition, and the parents share that with you. Somebody has diabetes or whatever it might be. It's a no-no for you to go and say, if somebody is, let's say that the child is having a diabetes attack or an insulin attack. It's not for you to say he's okay, he's having an insulin attack. It's not okay for you to say that. And so it's easy to say that because you know the knowledge, but it's something that we need to protect them from. I know Corey is in the medical field, and some of you may be in that. And so it's just sensitive information. If you know that a family is having marital problems, and they may have shared that with you, that's a confidentiality thing. You don't share with them, well, he's acting up because mom and dad are arguing all the time. Well, maybe that's true, but that's not for you to pass along to somebody else. And this is a big one. This is bigger than what maybe this is. Of course, nobody would say that, but people do. And so we just need to make sure that we want to protect them, but it also goes along with phone numbers. And like, let's say if someone want to get a hold of Alcina, can you give me Alcina Benson's phone number? I'll say, let me check. And I'll text or I'll call Alcina and say, hey, this person here, I don't know who they are, but they want your number. And if Alcina says, I don't know who they are, and then I'll just get back with them and says, no, I'm not able to give that to you at this time. They say, why not? I'm just not able to give it to you. And but it's a courtesy to ask that. And so it's kind of elementary type. All of this stuff is pretty elementary that we're going to go through tonight, but it's important just to kind of bring it back to the forefront of our mind. Let's go. We're going to talk about, yeah, and then also if somebody, there's all kinds of confidentiality stuff. So let's say there's somebody that is a foster child or something like that, and pictures that you may have, if the parents say, I don't want my kid's picture on social media, then you need to respect that as well. Once in a while, we have within Pathfinders, we take this big group photo, and we have this release form that they have to sign, and that way we can publish it. But once in a while, we'll still have them get their picture taken, but they'll say, can you cut, and we'll put them on the very end, and we'll cut that little guy out. So that's important for us to know, confidentiality. This is the one we're going to need to spend some time on. We all know it used to be called, I don't remember what it was before, but it used to be verified volunteers. Before that was something else. And because the vendors that we use, the services that we use keep changing, they have now called it Adventist volunteer screening. And so it doesn't matter what service we use, it'll always be AVS now. And actually the one that we use is called Sterling Volunteers, but we don't need to know that. It's just Adventist volunteer screening. The bottom line is that every adult who works in the Adventure Club is required to do Adventist volunteer screening. And so that's, it says here, or related program is designated by your conference. Our screening is ASB, or yeah, ABS. What am I saying, ASB? Yeah, ABS. And so we have that on our website as a really good access point. There's no exceptions to this. And these are the people who are going to be your teachers. If you have a TLT, that's, I think it's down to 16 now. The team leader in training from Pathfinders is going to be helping you. They need to go through that, even though they may not even be driving yet. But they need to have a background check on that. The question always comes up whether parents need to do this screening because there are adults around there. And here's the answer. The answer is no, but yes. How was that for an answer? It's no if they're just going to be with their kids, but if you're going to be asking them to teach a class, if they're a parent and they're going to be teaching a class to other kids, if they're going to be around the potential, even if they're teaching an award, that they're going to be around other kids for more than one meeting, then they should take that training. So no, if they're just going to be attending and being with their kids, and obviously you need to keep an eye on the parents with other people's, that's why it's good to have the parents there. But if they're going to be teaching for you, I just got this 2 weeks ago. If they're going to be teaching for you for more than one meeting, the answer is yes, they should go through Adventist screening or Adventist volunteer screening. It's a free service to you, to all of your people. It's not free to the conference. The conference does pay the fee, and the fee is mostly, part of it is the background check. They do a driver's check on you, and then any check whether you've had a felony. I don't know if misdemeanors come up, but and if something flags, if there's a hit on a person, I had someone not too long ago, my human resources department called me and said that one of the Pathfinder director, not a director, but a helper within a certain club had a DUI when they were 18 years old. Well, they're 27 now, they've been born again. And so they alert me to that. I call the pastor and say, this happened and it's really up to you to do what to do. HRD kind of says, hey, we're okay with that if it was a child molester, they cannot be around kids, right? But so there are some things with the driving record. One time a person had a driving record, they had 12 points on their license. And that's a flag, it flags up. And so that is somebody you don't want driving pathfinders around. And with adventurers, they ride with their parents. But yeah, Don, I think did you have your hand, or were you just, okay?
Yes, I did. So one question is, this is the first time I heard the name change. And so I don't know, do we need to redo this again?
No.
Or is it still 3
No,
years?
this is 2 years ago. This has been around for 2 years. So what's that?
I missed the name change.
Oh, yeah.
So if you did it, everything came renewed last year. So everybody had to re-up last year. And so you have 3 years now. So everybody's been, if you've done it within the last 2 years, you've done it under AVS. So
Andrea has her hand raised.
okay, Andrea.
Hi, yeah. So I'm a new director this year, and I also know for sure at this point that I also have one new teacher in our Eager Beaver program. So how is there a website to go to make sure that we're doing this, or how do I go about that?
Let me get out of this and let me go to let me show you right where that is. Really good question. It's in mizdayouth.org. If someone can type that in chat for me, that would be helpful. And I'm going to go there right now. Someone could put mizdayouth.org in there so that people can have it and they can copy it. All right, I'm going to share this screen. And so when you go to mizdayouth.org right here, you're going to see this. And this is where our virtual workshop is and stuff. This is our youth page. But there's an adventurer logo here. You can click on that, or you can go to Club Ministries and select here. So we'll just do that. And so that takes us to the adventurer page here in just a second. There it is. And so you can see what we've got here across to get the club application and the club membership form for your parents to fill out. And then right down here, past the conference benches, helpful links, right smack dab in the middle there is volunteer verification. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. There's Adventist screening verification. It is ASV. I just have it inverted in my thing there. And then explains why they changed it and all of this and why we do the background check. And then if you're a first time, who was it that I was talking to? I forget who it was.
Andrea Tribby.
Andrea.
Yeah.
So Andrea, you'd come in here and click this first time registrant, and you're going to select which conference you're from. And we're going to go to Michigan.
Okay.
And then you're going to select this, and you're going to select Michigan conference. And we're going to select it. Have you previously registered with Adventist screening verification? I'm just going to say no here. And then this is where you'll create a user ID, okay? And then you'll go on from that. If you already have an account, then you can just log in. So that's where it is. It's right there under helpful links, okay? And that's a required thing for us. And your church should have someone who's keeping track of who's working with the kids. I'm not sure, each church has a certain person that's supposed to be designated to do that. In our youth department, we kind of realized that the churches aren't necessarily all doing that service. And so we are, at least in the Pathfinder side of the house, no, we have to have proof that a person that's coming to one of our events has finished this screening. We haven't gone that far with the adventurers because you can't come to our events with kids unless your parents are with you anyway. So we haven't gone that way. So, but at your place, it's really important that you have your teachers go through that process. And it takes about, some people say, man, it takes forever. Well, it doesn't take forever. It's gonna take 45 minutes. You know, it will take 45 minutes probably. And it's really, really valuable information. And one of the things that's really easy to miss with that is you go through this test where it's kind of a training. It's not really a test, it's more of a training thing. And they ask you questions, and if you miss the answer, you know, there's no electrical impulses coming out of the computer at you or anything, but that reminds you of what the correct answer was. And then people forget this step at the end. You have to click, it's okay for you to do a background check on me, and you put your driver's license in, and then I do that background check. Some people skip that part. And so what that does is that it doesn't flag them as complete. You may complete the training, but you still have to do that background check. And that background check is really, really vital for that. So just kind of a thing is some people forget that. So.
Okay.
Greg,
that sound good?
And I'll talk to our church board. Yeah. I'll talk to the previous director and church board too, because I'm not exactly sure who in the past has done it and all that, but I just know there's 2 of us that are new, so I'll check in on everyone else.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Good question.
Pastor Danielle.
Okay, Daniela.
I also had a question about how do I know if somebody did or not? If they say, well, I did it, but I want to double check. Does the conference have a place or
or
somebody?
I would say call my office, but the problem is my secretary. Hate the reason right there. Call Human Resources. The number is 517-316-1500. 1500. I'll put that in chat. 517-316-1500 and ask for HRD, and just say, hey, I'm looking for verification that my person has finished the Adventist or the volunteer screening. And a lot of times they'll just look up there real quick for you and that type of thing. Another thing you can do is text or to email. Let me just put here. Hey Sherry, can you put for in the chat for volunteer? Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Can you put on there for Adventist screening verification email and put Laura M and Jessica's names in there?
Yep.
If they, so that'll be good. That's the best way to go. Good question, Daniela.
Thank you. Yes, because if you say that, sometimes people don't do it all the way to the end, and you want to know how far.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good. All right. So this is kind of a vital thing of it. I wish we didn't have to worry about it, but the bottom line is we have people in Michigan. I say this every year. We have people in Michigan that have been disfellowshipped from a church because of child abuse of their own children. And then another situation where they had been suspected of child abuse. They were never convicted, but we have a file this thick at the conference office of violations with them. And so they just go from church to church, and they're really good with kids. They come in there and say, man, I do this. I'll run your VBS. I'll be your adventure director. And can I help with adventures? And so if someone comes up, hey, can I help with adventures? The rule of thumb is you wait 6 months, even though you may need the help. You may need the help so much. Just resist and just wait 6 months. And if they keep coming after you, and saying, hey, when you can let me in, then it might be a red flag to say, hey, our policy is that we're gonna wait 6 months. And so that's just a really a good rule of thumb. So, but I've had one that showed up at a Pathfinder event. He was not to set foot at Camp Asavo. He's not supposed to be anywhere near kids. And I saw him, I was actually friends with him. I was really sad when I heard, that this was in his life. And so I walked up to him and says, what are you doing here? He says, hey, it's so good to see you. I go, good to see you. I love you, but what are you doing here? And I was really, really firm. And he says, I'm helping with this club. Isn't it awesome? I says, no, it's not. You have 1 hour to leave the premises. You know you're not supposed to be here. And his face turned. All of a sudden, he knew that I could turn him in and he would be thrown to jail. And I said, you have 1 hour to get out of here. And I called one of my area coordinators over and said, keep an eye on him. He has 1 hour. If not, let me know and I'm going to call the police. And so we have them in Michigan that are trying to work around that. And don't say that to scare you, just to let you know that this is a serious thing. And we take it very seriously in the youth department. We take it very seriously to protect our kids. That's my little speech on that. Let me go back to the presentation here. That's that Adventist volunteer screening. And let me
Greg,
pop this up again.
I just thank you for saying that, because I love to know that our leaders care as much for our kids as, each club, but the, high up on the level are watching out for our kids as well. And that makes me feel good.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Okay, so let's go with general liability. We're not going to do that. Here's this. We don't have that in our conference. Let's just talk about this. This is another conference. So I don't want you even reading that, because you might read it and think something. When you sign up, okay, here we go. I wish I had multiple ways to share screens. I'm going to go share this with you. For those of you who are new, are you seeing, what are you seeing right now? The website?
No, we're seeing your presentation in
Still your PowerPoint.
your PowerPoint.
There you go.
Sorry, guys. Now you see the website?
Your website, yep.
Okay. So all the newbies and even all the old bees, I don't know if that's a word or not, but every year you have to fill out a club yearly application. And that's simple. You just click that, print it off, and it talks about the philosophy of adventurers, your commitment to adventurers, and then you take that to your board, and your church board will vote that you are having an adventure club. Your church is sponsoring an adventure club. And so you don't have to have all those board members sign. You can just have the pastor and maybe one other person sign it. And then you're gonna, on the back side, you're gonna fill in all of your staff, okay? Put your club name, and then your staff, and then right here is your volunteer screening completed. And if you put question mark there, it's gonna flag us. I was gonna say it flags my secretary, but it flags me. And we will stay on that. I will stay on that until we know that is corrected, okay? And so then you just fill in how many adventurers you have, how many male and female, and how many non-Adventists you have, and how many kids. And we send this information along to the North American division level. So, and then we put these, what time do you meet? many days a week and what time do you meet? And so that's a thing that you fill out for us. When you fill out this application, and we receive it in our office, we'll send you a certificate. I think we're going to be emailing you certificates instead of printing them off from here on out, and you can print it if you want. But this ensures that you are covered by insurance, secondary insurance, if there's an injury while you're doing a club meeting. So I used this example with Sonia earlier. Let's say Serena had an adventure at her church, and they cut themselves somehow, or they fell and broke their leg. Okay, and so the parents say, "Hey, we want the church to pay for this." So the way it works is the parents' primary insurance will be first, and then whatever isn't paid for that, the conference will pay. If anybody comes to you and say, well, you were negligent, no, you're covered by the conference insurance, and so you won't have anything out of your pocket. And so it's very important that we have that application and we usually give you to the end of September. We'd like it earlier than later. And
Pastor Craig,
and then we get, yeah.
There's a question from a couple of questions coming through. Paula wants to know if you have a list of clubs that have sent them in, because she doesn't know if hers has been received yet or not.
Yeah, I have yours.
Okay, and Paula. Then there's also a question, can they submit the application electronically?
Yes, they can. We're trying to get this where we can just have this be a fillable form, but right now we don't have that. And it's better to kind of have that at the church board. It gives the church board something that's right before their face, and that they sign it. But you can take a picture of it, and or you can scan it in and email it. We prefer that you email it to us. But if you send it in the mail, that's fine. It's fine too.
Craig.
And where are you going to send that to? And someone is going to type in my email address, charris@mizda.org. You're going to send that to me, and some of you know that our secretary was put on furlough, and so we're limping a little bit right now, but we're not crawling. We're limping right now. But send those things to me, just realizing that you probably won't see a certificate come probably before the end of September, because there's 5 more events right after this weekend. So this club application, have your church board fill it out. It'd be really good if you take this application with your calendar for the year and have them stapled together and have them look at that. They can approve it. They can approve your calendar at the same time. That would be really good.
Craig.
Is there another question, Sherry? Yeah.
I'm volunteering to make that fillable. It takes like 2 minutes, and I'll do that, and we can just get it out to them.
Yeah, I have to determine.
Well, not
I got to get it approved for.
Not the signature part, mostly just the top part and the, your basic.
Oh yeah. Okay. Praise the Lord. We'll do that. We'll get that up online for you.
We're still going to have the signatures from
yes,
board members.
That's right. That's a human resource decision, not me. Right. So thank you, Sherry.
It just makes it.
Any other questions on the application at all?
I appreciate you turning those into fillables, and also even the application for adventures. The parents have to fill out that form. It would be good to have them fillables, because like our board meeting is not meeting in person. We're doing everything Zoom.
Oh.
And a lot of churches do that now, and so it makes it hard for us to get the signatures.
Yeah, very good.
And when is the
very good
due is the next question.
And this will be a really good time to do that. In the past, they've always kind of really wanted something in hand. We could pull a file on it, but when you're not meeting, that's a really, really good suggestion. And so I'll take that to HRD this week and see if we can get approval for those electronic.
When is the application due?
As soon as possible. It's usually September 5, but so that's our goal, September 5. All right, so let's go back here again. Those are two of the major things. I know that we've spent a lot of time and we want to cover two things, but those are the major things. You didn't know you're going to be going until 10 o'clock tonight, did you? But I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right. So you see that, right? Back to the thing. You see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. And so you can see this. We've already talked about a lot of these things. Your activities and your outings should be church board approved. Very important. That's why it'd be good to have your calendar with your application, but you want all of your field trips and your meetings on a piece of paper that it was approved by your church board. And so safety, you can, if you're going to a park, just make sure that it's a safe place to go. It's really important to have a medical consent form. Usually the kids are with their parents, but sometimes for whatever reason, they may not be. It'd be good to have a consent form.
Well, and it's not just because the kids may not be with the parents, but if something happens to the parent,
yes, yes,
then nobody's, so you just never know.
Yeah. And those medical consent forms are on the website, that front page on the far right under forms. I'm going to continue to go here. The conference wants, not the conference, North American Division has these forms. You can go onto their website. It's basically a checklist to make sure that you are doing your safety checklist before you go.
Okay, Pastor Craig?
We don't, yeah.
There's a question, what other forms or other things do I have to take to the church board for approval? And 2, are electronic signatures acceptable?
I'm going to try to get the electronic signature approved by HRD. Right now, the answer to that is I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, that they are acceptable, because it's hard to get a signature now. It's not a good it's impossible to, it's not impossible, but it's hard to get a signature. So we're going to say electronic signatures are okay.
And then what other forms or things do I have to take to the church board?
Just that application in your calendar with all of your field trips and your meeting dates.
And
really
can I interject here? It is super important that every outing is that church board approved. So, and if it's going to be changed, it needs to be church board approved. And a lot of times people say, I know my families, this is not going to be a problem. And you might be right, but you don't know your family's insurance. And so if anything happens, the families won't sue the church, but the insurance company will sue the church.
Yes, yes.
So it doesn't have to.
It's so important to have everything covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good idea.
The question is,
even if you're changing a date, if you're changing a date from going to Woldemar Nature Center, you need to send that to the church board, and if you get an okay email, put that with your file, so that was noted, that the change of a date.
I have a question on that as well. If sometimes, I know this happens sometimes at school board, they have the event planned, but the date not set.
Yeah.
We
really need to have the date. We need to really have the date. Sometime you could have the event. If you don't know the event when you have the church board, you don't know the date, the time that the church board votes all of your activities, somewhere along when you get that date needs to be approved. Didn't used to be that way, but it is that way now. So, okay, this is We need to have a good, adequate staff to camper ratio, high risk. The adventures by themselves, that is a high risk. And mild risk is adventure with staff. Low risk is adventure with their parents and legal guardian. That is just, and so it's a family ministry. And so, but assessing the risk factors for supervision. That's it. Traveling, adventurers must ride with a parent and legal guardian. It says not my rule. It's not the Michigan Conference rule. It's North American Division rule. If they're traveling in an auto bus, they need to be insured at we have a $100,000-$300,000 deal. We talked about that. Child abuse prevention. I'm just going to read this, but basically, if you go through the volunteer screening, you've already done this child abuse prevention, but I'll just read it to help you keep your adventurers and your adventure team safe. The NAD and your conference have established a child protection program. And basically, I just said it, so I don't need to read it. This is Adventist screening verification, is what this is, okay? Child abuse mandatory reporters. There are people on this call who are mandatory reporters. If you are a medical personnel, if you're a pastor, if you are a counselor, if you're part of a fire department and that type of thing, those are mandatory reporters. As an adventurer director, you are not a mandatory reporter if you suspect child abuse, but you do have a duty to talk to your pastor about this. If you suspect that there is, it says in here, this is like I say, somebody else wrote this, it says, and youth club leaders. That is not the case in Michigan. That might be the case in Texas where they are, but in Michigan, you are not a mandatory reporter, but you can go to your pastor and then let your pastor handle all that. Okay.
Pastor Craig, we have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about if a parent agrees to take care of another child whose parents cannot attend an outing? Can that be accepted?
We're going to come to that. The answer, the North American Division has a statement here, and the answer is no. But if you can hang on to that, and we'll let the North American Division speak instead of me, if that's okay. Set guidelines for interactions, limit one-on-one interactions between adults and children by having 2 adults. Sometimes that's difficult when you're in a small club, but it really, really is important for protecting you from a false accusation and protecting the kids. You could give the adult volunteer a job description that tells them exactly what their responsibilities are. And then it says regularly evaluate your volunteers to make sure that they're doing that. Making sure that it's a safe environment. I think every church has had to go through this. They've had to cut holes in their doors to make sure that there's a window in that door. If there's no window, it has to be a locked door. And I think all churches had to come in compliance with that. Lock areas of the building not in use to prevent adventurers from being isolated there. There's a no tolerance policy against bullying. Sometimes parents are bullies. And so that's just one of those things that we just try to encourage. Again, we just talked about the abuse reporting. Okay, here's adventure family camping. One of the things, the big differences between Pathfinders and adventurers is camping. And a lot of adventure leaders used to be Pathfinder directors, right? And so they come into adventurers and say, hey, let's go camping. Well, this is from the North American Division. This is the highest authority for us. And so for a family camping, adventure family camping experience, A parent and legal guardian must accompany their own children at all times. There's no exceptions. When we have our family camp in the North Woods, we've had people say, oh, grandma said it's okay for them to ride with me and that I'm going to take care of their kids that weekend, and they're going to sign a document. That's, we can't accept that. And I didn't make that rule. That no exceptions here is really means that. And there's good reasons for that, because there's been abuses with that. So there's a zero tolerance policy on that. It says here, parents and legal guardians are not permitted to grant permission to the adventure staff to take their minor children overnight camping under no circumstances, no exceptions. And so it's pretty clear that the family, if there's an event, the families, the parent or the legal guardian needs to be with them. And that may not be grandma. And that's a tough one, because grandma's bringing them to adventures. And but I just have to go by this. It says here, adventure staff are not permitted to accept permission or release forms from a parent to take their minor children camping overnight, no exceptions. They are not allowed to be sleeping with children that are not their own, no exceptions. Adventurers are not permitted to sleep in tents or cabins unsupervised. So you can't have all the your 7-year-olds camping in a tent together, having a grand time. They got to be with mama and daddy. And they can sleep with their brothers and sisters and with their parents, but not other folks. And
we had a question, did that only apply to overnights or other?
This one is overnight, and let me see if there's the other one, like I say, if you're going to go on an outing to the farm, nobody has taken a stance on that one. North American Division has not taken a stance on that one, because as far as I know, they haven't. Our high recommendation is that they need to have their parent or their legal guardian with them. But I don't have any authority backing me besides my conference administration saying, yes, that's our recommendation. It's not a no exceptions type of thing. So you have to just really think 4 times before you do it, right? I wish there was a cut and dry one so that would make it easier for me, but we recommend not to. But let's leave it at that.
What about a permission slip like a school? Like if you use that?
Yeah, for schools are a whole different jurisdiction than adventurers. And so I wish I could say, yeah, go ahead, it's fine. I can't say that.
Oh no, I'm
So
just saying, I
yeah.
again, I would do that just because it makes sense. I'm not saying it's good or not good, but it would be better than not having something if something happened, right? So usually.
Oh, if you do that, if you choose to do that, you have to have a permission slip.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And always carry your medical consent forms, even if the parents are there.
Yes. Let's see here. Obviously, these are just some normal stuff. Tornado, jump in a ditch, go inside somewhere, get away from the windows, stay low to the ground. I remember Oshkosh, the first year, Oshkosh, we were out by the main road. We had that tornado coming in on us, and the Charlotte Ambassadors, I was the director of the Charlotte Ambassadors. We all went into the ditch by the side of the road. It was wet, it was soggy, but that was the safest place for us to be. And obviously, you guys know what to do with these type of things. And so with that, enjoy your adventure time, right? Like, what a downer, Pastor Craig. Thanks for making my Saturday evening such a wonderful experience. right? But you can understand the importance of what we do. It's a pretty heavy load, but when we're smart, if we have some common sense and we're thinking about the safety of kids, yeah, it's just intuitive. That's what we want to do. This is not to scare anybody. It's just for us to be, to have our radar up and to keep the kids safe. We answered a lot of questions. Are there any other questions on it? And then we'll have a sundown worship here. Other questions on this?
There's no more in chat.
There's some in chat. Yeah,
No,
why don't you guys?
no, there are no
There's
more.
no more in chat. Okay, I got you. All right. Well, good. That's that risk management class. And but now before we do our worship, let's talk just a little bit more about some of the adventure events that we have. We have one coming up in what is it?
3
4
weekends.
weeks. It's always, yeah, it's the weekend after Labor Day every year. And it's called Adventure Family Camp. I've been doing a lot of talking, so I'm going to let the district leaders talk about Adventure Family Camp.
So when is the deadline for registration for that?
Here, let me open it up here.
We had it listed at September 8th.
Okay.
Which is pretty much the date of it, though, isn't it?
It seems like it.
Yeah, I'm just.
No, actually, it starts September 11.
It starts September 11, so the 8th is the Tuesday before. Okay. That gives me a little time to assign the sites and stuff. So talk to them about why they want to come.
It's the best thing of the entire year, in my opinion. The rest of you,
so expand on that. Yeah. So why is it so good?
Well, if you came to my nature talk this morning, it hit on all of the reasons why camping is like the best family activity. Not only are you with your family, being cold and wet and dirty and smelly because you're not showering, you are outside in nature, and in that dirt you're hearing and feeling all of the aspects of nature, and it is good for the soul.
Who hired you?
That's not a good selling point to some people.
I wanted to say, with the COVID thing, this is COVID friendly because you're outside as a family. As family.
Okay, I think Serena's boy is in the background. What does he say about family camp? Oh, you're on mute, hon.
Family camp, like Camp Sal, or the adventure family camp. Oh, I liked it. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
But it was wet and cold. Did you still like it?
Mostly.
See? Memory, you'll never forget it.
I don't like the bathrooms at the North Woods.
What'd you say?
I don't like the bathrooms at the North Woods.
Oh, they're better than most campgrounds. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Had some really good experiences. We went when my oldest two were in adventurers, and we went several years in a row, and we loved it. We've missed the last couple, but we're gonna go this year with my youngest, so he can make sure he remembers all the good stuff. About it. He'll be there this year.
You know, and actually, my kids loved going even when they were Pathfinders. They thought I hate to say it, but they enjoyed Adventure Family Camp even more than Camporees up there. Mm-hmm. They just really loved it. Yeah. And I really am looking forward to this year because we have been so isolated because of COVID, and to be able to come together and be able to do it outside where it's safer and have the fresh air. I cannot wait.
Yeah. So what we do at Adventure Family Camp is we have activities for you. It's camping. You come up, you're going to cook your own meals. you will come up, you'll sign up as a club. You'll go to your club director and say, we'd like to go to Adventure Family Camp. If your club director doesn't want to come, you can still come as a family representing that club. And it's fairly inexpensive. It's $7 for the weekend per person, with a maximum of $35 that a family is going to spend. And so that's,
okay,
that's just ridiculously cheap.
Okay, but, you gotta ask Paula what her comment is. Paula, unmute
yeah,
Paula. Where is she? Yeah,
I put it in chat, but it was just that the previous leaders thought that the families would always be miserable, being wet and cold, and that she just didn't think that the people would enjoy it. And one of the families said, no, I think we should try it. And now every year they just can't wait. When is it time to go to family camp? I can't wait. How long before we can go? They absolutely love it. And so it grows a year.
Everybody that has come up to family camp is hooked. There's a lot of people that choose not to come because, I mean, it is a camping, you're camping if you're not used to camping. And in the North Woods, we have forestry type bathrooms. And so we have the forestry type bathrooms, and there's no showers there unless you have a shower in your camper.
So last year we had a group come up and nobody had been camping before. I mean, they were pulling their tents and their air mattresses out of boxes. They had just gone. So you don't have to be an experienced camper to come.
Right.
And everybody pitches in and helps each other. I love it because it's relaxed. We have stuff planned, but if the families don't want to do that, they just want to hang around their campfire, they're more than welcome to do that. So it is very low key. And if you want to participate, you're welcome to. And if you just want to have family time, you're welcome to. It's just amazing.
So we have nature hikes, we have scavenger hunts, we have crafts, we have nature nuggets, we have games, we have all kinds of fun things.
Sabbath school and church. Dawn had something she wanted to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Dawn.
I was just gonna say about my advertisement. To say that it's cold and wet is it's just honest. You need to prepare for that.
Right.
And trust me, I think even if those kids are cold and wet at night and they get the fun they have during the day and the fun that they can just free play and at the North Woods, which is so cool. I don't think that the kids really remember, or even if they do, they're like, yeah, it was. But we had so much fun and their parents were there with them. We've had many testimonies of families that have come there with their kids and were so impressed with the people that they met who were not Adventists, but they came with their child because they had to. And they were just truly blessed. So it was a very good witnessing tool in a very relaxed atmosphere.
Amen.
And the other thing I was going to say is my daughter was a junior last year, and it was a tear between her because she had junior, senior camp out or adventure family camp. She still wanted to go, but she went to junior camp out. But,
so Dawn has talked about the miserable. We've had actually some pretty good weather too. So
Pastor Craig.
Yeah, Tim.
Great
I
weather.
don't think it's fair for Sherry and I to say much about this because we love camping anyway, but I have to undo some of the things that Dawn is sharing. We love camping so much, but when we go back to reminiscing about all the camping trips that we've had a lot of them with great weather up at Camp Asabo. We've had some soggy ones as well. And I'll tell you what, the kids do remember how much fun they had on the soggy ones.
That's right.
They do remember how much fun they had on the nice sunny ones. The Lord always gives us something to stretch and to grow and to just experience new things. But every single time that we've gone, rain or shine, we've had such a blast interacting with the families, interacting with the staff, and I can't say enough about it. Yes, we love camping anyway, but I think that it's something that everybody should try once so they can determine whether they like to camp themselves or not.
Okay, Pastor Craig, there's a question on here from Andrea. She says she knows there's a limit of people this year, or should we be concerned about getting in if we can't register until late August?
Yeah, I'd get in as soon as you can. There is a limit. I was going to talk about COVID. In the past, if we had 1,000 people up there, we'd be happy. We usually have around 300 to 400 people, somewhere in there. To stay within the guidelines of the state of Michigan. Northern Michigan is in phase 5. So if you're outside, you can have 250, up to 250 people. If you're inside, you can only have 100 in the phase 5 area. No, not 100, it's 50. It's 50. No, it's 100,
No,
sorry. it's 100. And so we are going to stay with the guidelines of the governor's orders of 250. We open up the pavilion doors. We have this large pavilion, and we checked with the fire marshals there, and if all the doors are open, that is considered an open air facility. And so we can legitimately say we can put 250 people inside. That's not our intent, is to go inside. If it's nice weather, we are going to be outside so that there's no concerns with that. But we're going to really be careful with COVID, and we want to be following, the standards and the practices of that. And so if we're forced to go inside, when you walk in, you'll need to wear your mask, and then we'll have family pods. This place can seat over 1,200 people. So if we have 250 people, we could put them in family units, family pods. And then when you come in, you'll just sit there. When you sit down, you can take your mask off. But then if you leave, you put your mask on. And we'll probably limit the singing unless we put the mask on. But we'll just see. We're going to be very careful with it. And we have a lot of activities that'll just be the family. We probably won't go to the nature center this year. That's one of our things that we've always gone to the nature center. But we're going to have to pull that one. We'll pray about that and see what we can do. But we'll have lots of fun with that. So
there's no dumping.
I'd sign up as soon as you can, and it'll be a first come, first served with that. And then, there's a dumping station. Yeah, we don't have a dumping station, but if you go south, there's that next exit, there's a gas station that has a dumping station there. We don't advertise to go on the other side of the lake because there's generally people over there, and we're trying to raise some money to put our own dump station on that side of the lake. And so
you have a state park pass, you can go to any state park, there's
North Higgins Lake,
and there's
Heartwood Pines, North Higgins
and
Lake.
you can do theirs.
Right. Yeah. And then again, there was that gas station off of 4 Mile Road has a dump station there. All right. So that's Adventure Family Camp. And I sent an email out for the family camp. And let's see, right here is family camp. You can click that. And right there you go. It gives you all the description of everything we talked about. And
Pastor Craig, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh, you can't see that all the way from there? Sorry. Thank you for that. That's funny.
The Lord really has blessed us. One more thing, and then I'll not say anything more, but the very first camp out that we went on, I think Owen was 2 and he's 15 now. And there was ice on everything. We have not had a camp out like that since then. So the Lord has really blessed. There have been a lot more very sunny, fun times. Yeah, it does get rainy.
We're just giving you a hard time.
I know. I'm just going that now.
You're backpedaling now, but we were just giving you a hard time. Yeah. So you just go to family camp, click register here, and it'll take you to one of our Google Docs, And then here's all the descriptions I talked about. And then you just put your club name in, the adventure director's name, the church that sponsors you, your email, number of families that are coming, and number of travel trailers and motorhomes that might be coming. And so that's important to register early on that.
Did it say anything about dogs up there on that page?
Yeah, there's no dogs allowed back there. I love dogs. That's my favorite animal. I love them. But it's been voted that we're not going to have any dogs in the North Woods. We had an attack a few years ago at a Pathfinder camporee, and I didn't know the dog was there, and it did attack somebody. And so there's no exceptions. If your family brings, or if somebody in your thing brings a dog, we will ask them to find a kennel or to take it home. And so there's people that are sneaky and bring it up. They'll never know. Oh, they won't ask me. We will ask you to take the dog home. And I know that's a pain. I know it's a pain. And we do not want to do that. So please don't have them bring him, right? So, and if you have a pet snake, don't bring your snake. You know, we had a boa constrictor one year, and I'm thinking, oh, come on. But anyway, so that's it. And then in the spring, we'll see how COVID goes. We have our Adventure Fun Day. Chances are, you know, I would say that it's 20/80 that we would not have Adventure Fun Day this next year. That's next April. I don't think that our world will be in any state to have 400 people in close quarters like we have, but we will plan it. And if everything falls in place, but I don't have a whole lot of hope that we will have an Adventure Fun Day this year. But that's I miss that. It's kind of the culmination to the adventure year. We all come together. We have lots of fun, but we're packed in pretty good. And unless we do something, bring them to the North Woods or something, and there's 3/4 of the people aren't going to come to the North Woods for a camping experience for the fun day. So we have that at GLA. It's kind of a central location. That's a lot of fun, but we'll talk more about that. If you are not receiving an email from me, I have an email list. It's through Campaign Monitor. I have a large adventure staff email list, and it is a list. And so sometimes if I send it to your email provider said, hey, this is a list. This is a spam. And so if you sign up on the email list and you're not getting emails from me, check your spam and then have them release that for you. That's how we communicate to the adventure directors. That's our primary way of communicating is through that, through email. Am I forgetting anything else, district leaders?
I think you got it.
All right, very good. Well, let's have our closing thought here on Saturday night. This is a hatchet that my Uncle Lynn gave me. My middle name, much to my chagrin as a child, is Lynn, Lynn, very feminine. Usually when I say that, the kids start to giggle. And that is why I never liked my name, because it was I never knew a Lynn. I didn't know my Uncle Lynn when I was a kid. And so I always wanted my name to be Richard, Craig Richard, or Craig something, Craig Eugene after my grandpa, but no, it was Lynn. And even though my dad's middle name was Lynn, that didn't help me any. I love my dad. I'd rather have it be Craig Donald, that's his first name, than Craig Lynn. And so I, kind of lived with that. Of course, my best friends you know how your friends are when they're kids. They're pretty cruel, so they call me Lynn, and instead of Craig. And if I let it bother me, then they really rubbed it in. And so one day, my grandpa, who you've heard, I tell all kinds of stories about my grandpa. Grandpa was a very godly man, and he wasn't a perfect man, but he understood how to disciple grandsons and granddaughters. And he was cool. If you have a cool grandpa, he worked with steel. He let us ride in the back of his pickup, even though grandma didn't want us to. And he had all kinds of cool sayings, and he'd get mad and he'd say, "Man, that makes me so mad that I could eat fried chicken," and I'm going, "That is so cool." Most grandpas swear, but my grandpa says cool stuff like that, so I loved it. So I'm riding with grandpa, and we usually visited old people when I was with grandpa, because grandpa was one of those that followed Jesus's guide. He wasn't probably the most knowledgeable of the Bible, but he was really knowledgeable about what Jesus had to say in the Bible and what Jesus actually said that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help the widows. We're supposed to help the kids that are orphaned. We're supposed to help those who are really in need. And instead of preaching a sermon, he preached a sermon by going to people's homes that were feeling bad. He understood the parable that Jesus told about the sheep and the goats. He understood that the sheep and the goats, Jesus said to the goats, and the goat says, "Hey, this is what I did. I did all these things. I preached sermons. I went to Seventh-day Adventist schools. I was an adventure director, blah, 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 blah." And he says, "I don't even know who you are," because they really didn't have a relationship with Jesus. Then the sheep are those who followed his command and helped those who are in need, and told about the coming of Jesus. And so that's my grandpa. He understood those things. I don't know if I've ever heard him preach a sermon. I heard him preach thousands of sermons, but never from a pulpit. So we're going to my Uncle Lynn's house. I'd never met him. It was Grandpa's brother. It was Grandpa's brother who had taken the wrong road, and he'd been in prison. He had scars on his face. And I'm meeting Uncle Lynn for the first time, and he's probably I don't remember if he's in his late 70s or I think he's in his 80s. So I go to Uncle Lynn's house, and he's actually pretty cool. He's a lot like my grandpa, just like that same type of humor. His voice was crass, which was not like my grandpa. And but Uncle Lynn had a lot of cool stuff. So we went into his garage, and his garage smelled like my grandpa's, like steel and oil that had dripped on the cement floor. You just love that grease smell on the cement floor. And he smelled like my grandpa, And so he went around, and I spotted this thing hanging on his pegboard. I looked at it a couple times. Actually, didn't go up and touch it. I just looked at it. And his Uncle Lynn started talking about stories and stuff. We're going out to the car, and Uncle Lynn says, "Hold on a second, Craig, come here." So I went in the garage with him, and he took this off the pegboard, and he said, "I saw you eyeing this, and I'll give it to you under two conditions." At that time, it wouldn't matter what the conditions were I was in. I wanted this thing so bad. Didn't matter what the conditions were, right? And he says, "First of all, you can't sell it. I want you to keep this in the family." I said, "Deal." I didn't say that. I just nodded. I was very respectful. I wanted that thing so bad. And then he put his arm around me, and you could smell he smoked a pipe. You could smell that pipe tobacco when he'd come up close to me. And he said, "You need to follow the God of your grandfather the rest of your life." And I went, "Deal." I'd have done anything. I'd have said anything, But he said, your grandpa, I chose the opposite way of your grandpa. Your grandpa's way is right. And when I'm a kid, it went over my head. I don't know. I just wanted that. I just wanted this hatchet. And this hatchet, look at this thing. This hatchet comes down and it folds into the handle, and it goes up. And I had this, and I'd tell stories with this. I tell this story to kids and stuff. And one time I threw it in, I just would throw it in my toolbox. And one time I had Bob Nelson from Cadillac. Bob Nelson came up to me and he said, Pastor Craig, can I see that hatchet for a second? Yeah, he says, yeah, that's what I thought. This is a marble. I go, what? What are you talking about? This is made in the Upper Peninsula by the Marble Company. That thing is probably made in either the late 18th century or 1800s or around the turn of the century. I'm going, really? So we looked at it, and it's a dog and the rabbit hatchet. It's got a couple. It's the original handle and different things. This thing's worth $600, right? It's 1901. This hatchet is 1901, and my wife said, "Sell it, sell it." And I remembered the promise I made. No, I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to sell it. And would you sell it? No, right? My dad says, "Sell it." Dad, no. This is Uncle Lynn's, right? And I made a promise. I also remember that other promise that I made flippantly when I was a kid. When I accepted Jesus as my Savior, all of a sudden it made sense. And the Holy Spirit brought that back into my mind. Remember that promise that you made to your Uncle Lynn, that you're going to follow the God of your grandfather the rest of your life? Man, all of a sudden, this thing hangs on my wall right over there. It's part of the fiber of me. This is my go-to when I go to get something. This is the best gift besides the gift of salvation, the most memorable gift, because it reminds me of my name, Uncle Lynn. I mean, even Uncle Lynn chose the wrong way. When I think of the word Lynn now, I'm thinking about the promise I made to him about following my God. So I see that, and I think of my name. So the Holy Spirit was just hey, I'm gonna make you love that name, and so I see that. So I'm thankful. I'm very thankful for some simple little thing like this. But God takes care of us. Even if we don't like something, if we are following Jesus, things start to make sense to us, right? And so I really encourage you, for you to make that promise. I'm going to follow the God of, and think about your mentor. That's the God I'm going to follow. And maybe you don't have a mentor. Joseph said when he was sold to the Ishmaelites, the patriarchs and prophets tells us that as he passed by the fields, he could see his father's tent, the smoke or whatever he saw in the distance. He knew he'd never see his father again, but he promised right then and there that I'm going to follow the God of my father as a young boy. And so that's my encouragement to you is that you just have the courage to work hard at seeking God, like we talked about in our church. They work hard at seeking God, and then man, you're just going to unfold so many cool things for you, so many blessings to you that you just have. We can't even count them. And as surprises come in our life, COVID comes in our life. Appreciate what the Lord has done for us and not get discouraged. And I'm speaking to myself, as I mentioned today, I've kind of had a little melancholy few months, but I'm encouraged because what Jesus Christ has done for me far exceeds any discouraging word that the devil wants to throw at me. And what is that? They come to family camp where there seldom is heard a discouraging word. It's not home on the range, but it's home in the North Woods, right? All right, let's pray together. Thank you, dear Lord, for the Sabbath day, and thank you for, man, we've had a sit-in, and we're all tired, but help us not to forget that you love us, that you have called us these last days of Earth's history to be the adventure directors, adventure staff in my community. What a privilege that is. Thank you for helping us, Lord. Help us to be faithful. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Great, guys. Hey, this was an hour and a half meeting. Hopefully it was a blessing to you. And tomorrow morning, we do have the last of these. We actually have 4 sessions tomorrow morning. And we have one on crafts. And if you're looking for some craft ideas, you know that they're out there. I mean, you could search, what crafts can I make out of a toilet paper roll? And there's hundreds of them out there, right? And so you can be creative with that. What crafts can I make with grass, right? And make sure they get the right type of grass instead of marijuana that Michigan is, promoting now. But so tomorrow they'll have some fresh crafts for you that have proven to work really well in adventure clubs, and fairly inexpensive crafts for you. And then we have programming and planning. Dawn's going to be teaching us about programming and planning for your adventure club. Alcina talks about club organization. How do you organizing it? What do you do with uniforms? And how do I order patches for uniforms? Are uniforms important? And all of that organization part, how to work with your club, with your local church and all of that. And then Tim Castagnon is going to be teaching the class of how to deal with the conference and your local church. That's the adventurer director track with that. So there's some overlap in all of the things that we do, but hopefully there's something that will meet your needs. So I think that's it, unless there's another question.
Nope.
All right, let's have a word of, we already prayed, right? We already prayed.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll just say goodbye. So you guys have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank